Here's the story of their enthusiasm in Psalm 107. God brought them out of darkness and the deepest gloom and broke away their chains. Let them give thanks to the Lord for his unfailing love and his wonderful deeds for men. I can't get enough of these guys. You know, Teen Challenge has been in Canada since 1973, but they opened their newest of 13 altogether centers last September. If you're a regular viewer of the program, you've already seen this footage, and it's just great to visit it again. September 26th, 2009, although they opened the doors in 2008, that was the official opening at, get this, Snowball Corners, just outside Aurora. It's kind of meaningful to say that today after our biggest snowfall of the season. This is the Teen Challenge GTA Women's Center. Currently, they are helping 17 girls whose lives have been trapped in addiction. And I'm so pleased to be introducing one of them to you. Charity, welcome. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You're a little outnumbered by those guys,
yeah.
But we're so excited about the Women's Center, and you're about halfway through
6 months.
Your program. It's a 12-month program.
12-month minimum.
And 18 and up, by the way. As I said, girls, it's really women. And, you know, your story has such a surprising start, Charity. Born and raised in Toronto, in a wonderful Christian home,
yes.
A great family.
Yeah.
You attended a private Christian school, top of the class, great student. What went wrong?
Well, at that private Christian school, I was being sexually abused by one of my teachers, and I carried the secret around with me for years.
You were 8, you think? About 8?
Around that age, yeah. It happened for a few years. I'm not sure how many years it happened for. I'm not sure the exact age because I think that's a safety mechanism to block some of that out.
Now, you did finally tell Mom, let your parents know what was going on.
Yes, when I was around 12 years old, I did tell my parents, and we brought it to the courts, and he was found not guilty, not enough evidence, so.
What does that do to anyone?
My world was shattered again, and I actually started to hate God for it and blame God for it. Deep down inside, I didn't believe that God loved me or that he was a good God. So my faith and my trust in men and in God was shattered.
Age 13.
Age 13, I was introduced to the secular school system. I started going to a public school. I met worldly friends, and they introduced me to worldly music. My depression and anxiety started to pop up again, and the music helped with my depression and anxiety. And
grunge and alternative rock.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. For me, it dragged me down into a deeper pit of sorrow. And when I was 14, I started experimenting with marijuana and alcohol. By the age of 15, I was doing ecstasy and other hard drugs like cocaine, crystal meth, and cat tranquilizer.
Okay. Cat tranquilizer.
Yes.
For cats?
Yes.
Something for cats?
Yes.
And do you do something? Maybe we shouldn't even be talking about this, but do you use it as is, or is that something that you process?
I think it's in liquid form at the veterinary clinic, and then they take it and they somehow put it into a powder form.
It's just such a horrible, horrible world.
Yeah, so I started using those drugs and started going to the all-night parties that used to be called raves, and really getting into that scene when I was only 15.
Now the combination of the music and the drugs brought to the surface some of the pain that you had either consciously, you'd either suppressed or repressed.
Yeah, I believe I had suppressed that pain, and it started popping up again. And the more drugs I would use and the more alcohol I would use, the more it would come to my mind and the more hurt I would be, but I would try to mask that pain with more drugs and more alcohol. It was just a vicious cycle.
You've been explaining some of this to me. Most of these drugs, you need more each time.
Yes.
And so you're really caught in a trap that is leading to destruction.
Yeah, especially with ecstasy, you have a very high high and you feel great and you feel on top of the world. But when you're coming off of that, you're just next to suicidal and you just feel so depressed. So you need more and more, or you need alcohol to help you even get to sleep. And
now your parents obviously saw the change in you. They could see there was a struggle. And
yes.
How were they responding in this crisis?
It was tearing apart my family. I was fighting constantly with my parents and my two younger sisters. My parents did everything they could. As Christian parents, they would pray for me, pray with me, and they would just pray and weep and pray and weep. They would go into my room and throw out any secular music I had, anything that they thought that the enemy could gain a foothold on me. They tried to remove. They really did everything in their power to help me out of this pit that I was in, but I would not listen. I was very rebellious.
It was a discouragement for them in their faith walk, wasn't it?
Yes.
They lost hope.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. There was a period when I was younger, when I was a little girl, we used to go to church every Sunday, and my parents would have the home meetings during the week. So they were very much involved in the church. My father would read me all the Old Testament Bible stories and the New Testament ones too. When I was a little girl, I couldn't get enough of them. I loved the Bible. I loved Daniel and the Lion's Den was my favorite. And yeah, slowly when I was going deeper and deeper into this pit, they were losing a little bit of their faith, and they stopped attending church as much as they used to. And my mom would spend nights not able to sleep, just up all night in tears. And I would be missing for days and not phoning them.
You dropped out of school at 17. It just became very desperate. But 25th birthday party.
Yeah.
Went from darkness to light.
Yeah. Yeah, around when I was 25, I started doing crack, a drug that I swore that I would never do. And on my 25th birthday, I was on a large amount of magic mushrooms, and two of my best friends were supposed to come to my birthday party, and they didn't come till 3 o'clock in the morning because they were busy at a bar, and this very much hurt me. And I had a terrible trip on these mushrooms and on the alcohol that I was on, and I was on cocaine that night as well. And I just remember missing my parents and my family so much and saying to myself, I need to go home and talk to them. And I did. I went home and I talked to them, and I told them the truth. I told them everything I was on and what I was up to, and they were shocked and horrified. And my mother and sister told me about a new teen challenge that had just opened up in the GTA. And so I told them to get all the information and sign me up before I changed my mind.
You did get cold feet, didn't you?
I did. I changed my mind. I didn't want to go. The day that I was to go to my parents and they were to drive me to Teen Challenge, the day before, sorry, I started getting all these phone calls from old buddies that I haven't talked to in so long saying, oh, Charity, come to this party. Charity, come to that party. I'll pay for you. And it was just like unbelievable. But I stuck with the commitment I made to my parents.
And your parents have such a renewed faith, and you have
Yes.
a dream for your future. Thank
Yes.
God. I want to just say, this is a discussion we
Yes.
had before. You don't have any, there's no HEP, there's no,
No.
diseases of any kind. There's no visible physical fallout from this horrible journey with drugs and alcohol. What would you like to do with your life?
I would love to do missions starting in Toronto, where I was born and raised and
You
lived
wanna
all
help
my life. Yes.
Girls like yourself.
Yes, I would love to help youth from the ages of 13 to 18, just when they're in that crucial period of their life. I would love to help them, and street people. I'd love to do street missions. And then I'd love to go to Africa. Heidi Baker is my inspiration. Yeah, I very much admire her and
Meanwhile,
her Iris Ministries.
Two important things at Iris Ministries. We know Heidi well. What a dream. Two important things. Evidence of God's work in your heart. You're praying for that abuser.
Yes.
And you're hands-on, like the guys do cars. If you know about Teen Challenge, they refurbish wrecks. If you've got one sitting around, I can tell you where to take it. The girls are doing something much prettier. Tell us about this, Charity.
We are making jewelry with semi-precious stones.
Beautiful. And if you go on an outreach, this goes with you.
Yes.
People can find out more. This is just a
Yes.
wonderful, wonderful story. Thank God for this new center. And I hope we'll be hearing more about you and your path ahead.
Thank you.
It's just too good to be true, but it is true.